All right, I am excited. Jim Carty here from Blues and Beyond YouTube channel, and I'm with Natailie MacMaster. Um, and you have the Natailie MacMaster and Donnell Leahy family band. Um, and this is an interview I've wanted to do for years, and I finally got you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a longtime fan. And my family came through the Maritimes from Ireland and then made their way down to Boston and found a pub that gave a proper pint and stayed.
Wow.
That's
Great
that's
story.
that's my story there anyway.
Yeah.
But you have a tour coming up that's kicking off, I think, February 20th, hitting a lot of the Northeast U.S., leading up to dates just before St. Patrick's Day. And before we do anything, I want to run down the dates if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So you're starting on the 20th in Manchester, New Hampshire, at the Palace Theater. I have a good story about David Grisman, who worked with Stefan Grappelli, who's your husband's fave or one of his faves, right?
Yeah.
At that theater. Um, Barre, Vermont on the 21st. Then in March, you're at Sellersville, PA. Wonderful theater. The Birchmere in Alexandria on the 10th of March. Waterville Valley, Maine on March 12th. Uh, Brownfield, Maine on the 13th. The 14th, Keene, New Hampshire at the Colonial. Then we come to my neck of the woods, Connecticut, and New London, Connecticut at the Guard Theater. And lastly, my old stomping grounds in Beverly, Massachusetts, at the Cabot Theater. So you have quite a few dates leading up to St. Patrick's, and everybody's excited about it, I assume.
Excellent. Yes, we are. Different configuration for us. First time going out as this four on the floor group, which is
Yep.
myself, my husband, our two oldest children.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael and Mary Frances. Yeah.
Now, do you what factored into that decision? Was it musical? Was it life in general? I know you've got the seven that you're homeschooling. There's hockey. There's farming. There's God, everything going on in your life. I don't know how you manage it.
It was a number of factors. A couple of years ago, or maybe not quite that long ago, 18 months ago, um, our management, new management,
Yep.
um, saw us play at a very small venue with.
So,
Okay, gotcha.
um, all right, Natalie, we had a little glitch there, but we're back at Blues and Beyond, and we were talking about why you were doing four on the floor, just the four piece on this tour, and I would love to hear why you're doing that.
Yeah, a number of reasons actually. We had done a show about a year and a half ago, and management had come out to see it. They were new with us at the time, so it was a fresh image. It
Hmm.
was a very small show, small theater, just a couple of our kids came with us, and it was a specialty kind of gig. We hadn't done anything like that before. And when the show finished, he said he loved it. He said that was just such a different experience of you guys. I haven't seen it before. And he said it was moving, it was sweet, it was entertaining, the music was great. He said like and then and then from there it just kind of kept popping up in conversations.
Mm.
And so Janelle and I also like traveling around. There's traveling around with our band, but then there's traveling around with our kids. We don't like leaving our kids for weeks at a time, so we've always taken them with us.
Yep.
Then they end up being on a portion of the show, and it gets hard then when you like constantly pulling them away from school and sports events and things like that. Like we don't want to be too invasive of their childhood.
Absolutely.
And so now our two oldest are like they're graduated and they have the flexibility, and
Hmm.
we felt like, well, that's what this show was, and it's less infringing on the younger kids. Like they're still playing shows and stuff, but not quite so much. These are We're doing two small tours with this configuration.
Yep.
And the third thing is that every new configuration pulls something fresh out of a person musically.
Mm.
And I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff we do here at the house, just ourselves. No one ever really hears, and it's like it just works well in a small with just a couple of instruments or three or four instruments. And yeah, we just felt musically speaking, it would just pull something different out of us, and we know it'll work, so we're
Yep.
doing it.
As someone who puts on a lot of shows myself, I love to put on shows where I have a house band and then I have a lot of special guests, and sometimes it can fall apart at the seams, and sometimes the stage levitates, and the gods shine down on you, and but when you have a four piece, it's going to be tight, cohesive. You can, with the older kids, to have that tight, practiced, rehearsed thing, I'm sure much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, good. um so we alluded to everything you have going on. So what activities are the kids into? I'm curious. I know the other day we tried to connect and you were in homeschool mode and mom mode. So what's a day like for you with the kids? God bless you.
Wow. We were heading out the door to something the other day. Oh, yeah, it was Sunday. We had just gotten back from church. We were invited to a friend's place for brunch,
Yeah.
and the pandemonium that took place in that 20-minute span of driving up our laneway to get out of our church clothes to go to this friend's house for a day of snowmobiling and like outdoor fun.
Mhm.
It was insane. And I imagined the whole time, like, if a camera was on us right now, like, it would be the most popular reality TV show ever. It was, and that is just one moment of things that are happening all the time. Like, what was going on right then was just that I was trying to make a batch of cookies. I
Uh-huh.
wanted to bring something there, and people were probably wondering, well, why didn't you make them the day before? The day before, we had, 30 guests at her house because my daughter decided to put on a house party, and she had all these people show up. And, I was like cleaning the house for that. And prior to that, my daughter had her ballet class and took a friend over afterwards. And then I had pictures and photos due for my book publishing company for
Mhm.
a thing I was doing. So I couldn't do it the day before. And the day before that, we were at Mary Francis's debut gig, and we were all in Markham for the day,
Deep
prepping for
breaths,
that.
Natalie. Deep breath, baby.
Totally, totally, totally. So the only time I had to make cookies was like that 20-minute window. And I'm telling you, I whipped up a damn good batch of chocolate chip cookies in 5 minutes.
Nice.
I turned that preheat oven button on. And so the oven was hot when they were ready to put in, and they were done in 12 minutes. I was out the door in 20 minutes with fresh baked cookies. Mind you, they were on the cooling tray going into the back seat of the truck. But I had a nice platter. I had the kids put that in, and everybody was running around. My daughter came running downstairs, changed outfits 3 times. She said, "Is this okay? Is
Oh,
this okay? Is this okay?" And then she's like, "Mom, I've got to write my speech for school. I can't go at all." So it's just all these
geez.
funny, funny things. So yeah, that's a little glimpse into the pandemonium that exists in this home.
And I saw another interview online, and I wanted to steal something from it, discuss it. It's been chaos since you met this Leahy kid. Apparently, like, you started dating and then you weren't dating for like a decade, and then he came crawling back, baby, take me back. Tell me all about that.
Well, I'll tell you, you can read it in my book.
Uh, I was going to talk about future projects. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the courtship and then the book?
Sure. Well, Danelle and I did date when we were very young. I was 19, he was 21 or 23, 22.
He was young enough; it wasn't scandalous. That was fine.
No, 23, that's what he was.
Yeah,
4 years apart. Anyway, and we broke up. We dated for almost 2 years,
yeah.
and we broke up for about 9, almost 10 years, somewhere in there. And we got married when I was 30 and he
Mhm.
was 34. And this book I'm writing is, it's called I Have a Love Story. The focus is not on Danelle, it's on love in my life that I received when I was very young. Just simple, sweet moments in life, and that have guided me and molded how I conduct my own life now. And it's just reflecting on that. And, uh, and of course, Danelle's story of us is in there as well, because it's one of those many beautiful things that have happened to me, and now having children and all of that. So yeah, very grateful for all of that. And in the book it talks a lot about that. So that's not coming out to the fall.
That's very exciting, though.
Yeah.
And really, the Leahys and the McMasters are kind of the two first families of Canadian Celtic music, if you will. And that's kind of neat. I got to talk to your sister-in-law Erin earlier this year, or actually about a year ago, and she's a sweetheart. Um, what was the dynamic like when Donnell traded teams there and moved over to Team McMaster? And what was it like to start working with a mate and get used to how Leahy does it or the way the McMaster band does it? Because I'm sure there was a bit of a process difference. I talked to Aaron quite a bit about the Leahy family band process.
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't know if your screen paused. Can you
No,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you just fine, Natalie.
Perfect. My screen paused for a second. Anyway,
No worries.
yeah, the whole, Danelle never, I wouldn't necessarily say he left for one for the other. It was a very gradual thing.
Yeah,
And just slowly over time. And also too, Leahy had been playing together for like decades,
right.
and they were evolving too. I mean, it just all felt like timing was right in many ways in the
Mhm.
way it slowly unfolded. But um, it did take a lot of getting used to. I mean, Danelle played with his family his whole life and made somewhat collaborative musical decisions and business decisions and
Mm,
everything that was all shared, for the most part. And then for myself, none of it was shared. Like, I mean, it was just me and my band, and I made the call on everything. Made
right,
the call on clothing and what projects to take on, what music I wanted to play. I mean, my band was always great, and they were like there to support. But if I didn't want to do something, all I had to like ask is me.
right, right.
you know,
No is the
like
easiest word in
like
the
I just
music
don't
business,
feel
right?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. No, sorry.
But for Danelle, if he, really wanted to do something or didn't really want to do something, it was more about the group. So they all kind of had to the ebb and flow of all that. So anyway, yeah, it did take a lot of getting used to, but even more so than those decision type things and planning, for me it was the just playing together and making that sound great. Like
Yeah,
it did not sound good when we first played together. Like
I was surprised to hear that. And
yeah,
uh, do you
it
think
just
that's
two
the bass influences are a little different, or what do you attribute that to?
two very different styles,
Yeah.
very different. You know, I'm very Cape Breton sounding, and Danelle is very unique. Really, he's got his own style, but it comes from Ontario. That's its roots. And to put a tune that we both played growing up, and then for us to play it together, it just didn't go together at all. I
Mm.
was all Cape Breton, boom, ba doom, ba doom, ba doom, and then he's doing his flying around on the fiddle, the acrobatic stuff he does, and it sounded messy. It just sounded messy.
More
So
of a
over the
more of
years,
a gypsy jazz thing, like the Grappelli stuff, maybe, or would you compare
oh
it to
my
that?
gosh, not at all.
No,
No,
not at
it
all.
was a mess. It was a mess. I'm trying to say it slightly sweetly or something. I don't know. It just wasn't good. Like anyone would say that. I heard us back on a recording that someone took of us at a house party. It just sounded yuck. So anyway, that was pretty deflating. But just as the years grew on, and like I said, the whole transition happened very slowly.
Yeah.
So you had time to grow with it, and we just got to be better listeners. Is basically what it was. We got to be better listeners, and we can play together now extremely well. We notice what really helps us though is to learn tunes together. If
Yeah.
we play anything from our past, we're so kind of rigid in how we do it that it doesn't work as well. But if we learn stuff together or if we write stuff together, it always goes much better.
Having big ears as a musician is a huge part. Then, and that's maturity in your music, I think.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
good, good. Well, I was pleasantly surprised to see that you had uh, Yo-Yo Ma on canvas. He's an old acquaintance of mine, actually. Having
Hey,
been from Boston, I used to work at a car dealership that he bought a car from. And when
okay.
he came in for service, I took care of him. And it was funny. I, would rent cars to the service customers, and I knew who he was without asking for ID or whatever. But I said,
Yeah.
gotta have your ID to rent your car. And I said, you get the name of a really famous musician. And he's like, and just so cute. And then we, struck up a conversation. He's like, who are you playing on your radio? I said, oh, that's, Ronnie Earl Blues Band. He says, take me to this. And we ended up going out to some blues clubs together a couple of times,
Nice.
which was cool. But I found out that he loved fiddling as well, like more
Yeah.
country idiom fiddling. So maybe you can talk to that. And the other thing is, there a chance of a sit-in at the Cabot Theater?
Janelle makes this funny little joke. The tune that we recorded with him, uh, it's called Soul or So You Love. When
Yeah.
we play it live, Janelle always says, Yo Yo Ma record on this track. It's so amazing to play with him. And a special guest here for you now. Please welcome Yo Yo Ma.
Mhm.
And then we all stand and everybody's like waiting. Of course, he never shows up.
Uh,
That's a big joke. We all laugh. We're like, that guy never shows up. So yeah, the joke is we always announce him and he's never there. But you never know. Maybe one of these days. Maybe.
hopefully.
Yeah. That would be
Oh,
amazing, actually.
you
Like
have
I
to
just
entice
thought
him.
of that for real right now.
Yeah, give him a call. See, Yo-Yo, it's about time you show up, buddy. Uh,
We'll
no,
go clubbing after, right?
right, right. He came right out for the blues. Um, another connection we have in common is Richard Flohill. I gave him a ring maybe 15 years ago for something, and I brought up your name, and he just gushed. I helped Natalie early in her career. She's the sweetest. So, for folks who don't know who Richard Flohill is, he's, I don't know, the probably one of the biggest music impresarios in Canada, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say? Uh,
Yeah. Amazing guy. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Connected you so much.
tell me about how you met Richard, and what he's meant to you and your career.
I don't know when we officially met. Like, I can't remember, but I must have been like in my very early 20s.
Yeah.
So that was like 30 years ago.
Mm,
But through the course of those first, couple years, um, yeah, he helped me out, like just introducing me to people.
mm.
Um, he did a bit of writing for me, like just getting press kits together and stuff like that. It was very kind of spreading the word, really, more than anything.
Yeah, great PR
Very good
man.
at that. He's very, yeah, that's his thing. He
Yes.
he is.
Yeah, and so well respected, and still going in his 90s. God bless him. I think he's like what, 92, 93 now.
I didn't know. I did not know he was that old.
Yeah, yeah. We won't include that. He's got to maintain a reputation with the ladies, I guess. Um, but the other thing I really love from you guys in the recent past is your Christmas live stream was fantastic. Um,
Mm.
what kind of preparation does a production like that take?
Ooh, yeah, that
Can't
was hairy.
imagine.
It was hairy because the kids were so much younger then and they were harder to wrangle.
Mm,
And just like you're thinking, oh my gosh, I was stressed actually. I was stressed. But then when we just started, it's like anything. You're more prepared in some ways than you think you are. Once you just start and the cameras are rolling, it falls
mhm.
in. And that's what happened. And I love that. I got more comments. We got more comments on that particular video. And that was for COVID, right? Those were the
Yeah,
lockdown days.
yeah.
Yeah, we're very pleased with how it turned out.
It was. I think it brought a lot of love and light into my little COVID world, and it was lovely to see your beautiful home and the kids dressed up, and the family together, and with everybody not having the ability to get their extended family together, it was nice to see your family together.
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, it
Thanks.
was. It was super nice to see that. Um, so, um, what else do we want our fans to know at this juncture? We've got the book. Any recordings in the pipeline?
Yeah, Janelle and I were talking about some recordings today. I would imagine they won't start up till next year,
Hmm.
but projects for that on the go. I always have like I could be a full-time musician in that. I mean, I could like not be a mother at all. I have so much material. Like I have two lives. You know, if I wasn't a mom and I only had music, oh my gosh, I would still not exhaust all of the
Waking
creativity.
hours,
It's just unreal. But of course, motherhood obviously takes up most of my time. And so those little projects and stuff, they don't get the daily attention and stuff, but there's an inexhaustible amount of creativity there. And part of me thinks too that my eagerness and my creativity is greater because of family life.
hmm
Uh, yeah, because I can remember back when I was in my early 30s, late 20s. I mean, I got tired too. Like, I played 250 shows one year. It was insane. And even the years around that, I played hundreds, like, doing a lot of shows. So I feel so rejuvenated musically. Yeah, I feel like I'm so eager. I'm so eager to play and create and write, and I
Well, you're
just never.
doing what, about 75 shows a year now, right? And do you feel that you've come to an equilibrium where I feel balanced at home, I feel balanced on the road and in the studio and in the cadence of recordings, and or do you find that to be an evolving thing? I'm sure, as you said, with the kids aging out and maybe into the group, like four on the floor, um, always finding something to tweak to find equilibrium. But I mean, you've got to feel like you're making time for every compartment in your life, I assume.
Yeah. Well, definitely I feel like 75 shows is plenty. I could not do any more than that.
Yeah,
Um my greatest the area where I feel most compelled to fulfill better balance wise is definitely just home life, just being here. I would love to. I almost said last week, I said, guys, I just need 1 week. I've never had a week since my daughter was born, our last daughter. I would love just a week where I had nothing to do but cook and clean. Now, how many women say that? That's exactly how I feel. I want to be here. Like, I'm here a lot. Like, when I'm home, I'm home. But it's not fully. Like, I'm doing this interview right now.
right.
Before you called, it was the frantic panic because I had a Zoom meeting with, now I have another interview calling me right now. This is the fourth time they call why we've been talking.
It's
So my time at home is,
not
not
your
fully,
own.
I'm not fully present. There's piles of laundry around me and I want those things. I want to make a great home for my family. I want to make it, like a place where they come and they get clear minded and they get their needs met and they get full and they smell food and they have music and instruments around them and they can talk to their parents and they can cry and they can sleep in and they can work on the farm and they like all those things. And so yeah, I would like to be doing more attention to that, but we're doing pretty good.
Good, good. Well, I think if you're mindful of all of that, you've already achieved so much more than most people, Natalie. So that's cool. That's great. I appreciate your time. I'm going to let you get to the other interview, and I'll make sure to try to find you in Connecticut to say hi.
I
And
would love that.
yeah, that would be great. And stay safe as you travel on the road.
Thank you very much. Nice to
All right.
talk to
Likewise. Take care.
you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks again.